Okay, so you should be able to see your chart. Some things have moved because this is using porphyry house system. So based on
Okay.
your house system, some things are still in the first house, but your sun, moon, and Jupiter are in your 12th house now. So anyway, let's start. You are part of Pluto Virgo generation, but your Pluto is in the first house. And as you can see, just looking at your chart, there are a lot of culminations and new beginning, because your sun and moon are in the 12th house, which represents a closing of a previous cycle, especially when it comes to what's so considered to be the purpose and the way that it wanted to self-actualize. But there is a lot of new beginnings, which are still closing to the south node, because the south node is moving in this direction and the planets are moving in that direction. So based on that, all these planets are culminating when it comes to south node. So there is a lot of thing that needs to be changed before the new start can begin. And that's why you have all this stuff going on in Virgo, because Virgo accumulates information and learns to discern what is relevant and what isn't. Therefore, it's a path towards self-mastery. So you were literally born one day after the new moon in Virgo. I checked. It happened less than 24 hours before at 0 degrees of Virgo. So that's very profound, because again, it indicates new beginnings, but because it's in the 12th house, there are certain endings that have to happen first. And generally with the Pluto Virgo generation, your generation came here to correct what is seen as wrong with the society, because, you know, obviously all the previous generation did their best, but then your generation came here to leave the earth a better place than they found it. And for that, there is a lot of adjustment that needs to happen. And because you have everything in Virgo, apart from your nodes, they are in a Libra Aries axis, and then there are a few other exceptions, like your Saturn and your Mars and your Chiron, but everything else is in Virgo. So there is a huge focus on this Virgo archetype. And usually when Pluto and the nodes are in the Virgo, Pisces, or 12th and the 6th house, there is a culmination of the Pisces age. So the conditioning of the previous generation, where they were conditioned that we are not good enough, sinful, inferior, we need to sacrifice ourselves and serve even at the cost of our own well-being and needs and stuff like that. And this is everything that's culminating. So very likely you might even feel that you are carrying much more burden than is your own, that you have inherited like much more that you experience in your lifetime, because there is this massive focus on Virgo, which is this need for learning, adjusting, and accumulating information and creating a new pathways that would lead to a better future, in a sense, because Virgo is the bridge. Virgo is the bridging archetype because it bridges the southern and northern hemisphere. So from the natural zodiac, the first house always carries a flavor of Aries because it's the new beginnings, and the 6th house always represents the Virgo archetype. And Virgo is the bridge between it's all about me and then integrating into the society. And you can see that there is a lot of combination based on previous cycles, what the soul considered, okay, this is how I showed up, this is what was my purpose and destiny, this is what made me feel happy or not. And now in this lifetime, you seek in a new ways, like how that is going to happen in upcoming lifetimes. And actually, because your 6th house is ruled by Aquarius, this is a path of individuation. So you came here to discern what out of what we inherited or what you can observe in your reality is actually yours or came from previous incarnation or previous generations of conditioning. Because of the sun and moon being in a 12th house, there is a lot that you carry from the previous generation, previous ancestors, because your 11th house, which is the house of Aquarius, and your Aquarius is associated with Virgo, and everything in your chart is happening in Virgo. Actually, even Uranus himself is in Virgo. Your 11th house, the house of Virgo, is in Cancer. And Cancer is the family, the bloodline, the ego identity. So it's saying about liberating and freeing the pattern, whatever the pattern is that has been carried on through your ancestor line, that now go to the point where it needs an upgrade, in a sense that there was a certain conditioning that people followed because in many cases they didn't have a choice. They weren't the same opportunities we have now. And then the soul now wants to shift that. There were certain experiences which carried through from the past lives and past generations conditioning that, okay, this is how we show up. But then there was a switch, which you would have gone, okay, Now I want to go my own way. I need to find out what is here for me. What did I come here to do? And also because with the fourth house being ruled by Sagittarius, fourth house again represents the Cancer, the moon, and the moon itself as a ruler of Cancer is in a 12th house. So we can see that the soul is trying to liberate itself and create a new pattern because the old pattern is outdated. And at the same time, there is kind of a process of transcending what came before, because the moon is in a new phase with the sun. So it was a new moon, and the moon is in a new phase with the sun, which is saying we are seeking a new way how to use the Virgo archetype. In which case, at the same time, we're going to heal the past and integrate it and allow ourselves for this new cycle to begin. And the fourth house being in Sagittarius, there is this optimism, there is this desire for expansion, that we want to expand, we want to go in a new direction, because what else is out there to explore being in a human incarnation? Because, you know, when we're in a spirit form, we know everything, and then we come on earth and we want to have all these experiences based on which we learn different things, we grow and evolve. And now your soul as a Virgo archetype decided, okay, well, I had the totality, because your sun and the moon are in 12th house, the totality of experience, what it's like to use the Virgo archetype in the way of being of a service, even if it's at my own cost, you know, even if I have to sacrifice who I really am. And now the soul decided, okay, you know what, in this lifetime, I want the shift. I want to individuate, and I want to find out who I am, what matters to me, therefore create a new way of relating, you know, new kind of role I want to play in a society. Because we kind of, the best way to understand and see this is like when we really create this analogy of a, you know, of a movie, yeah? So like the soul goes and it has a casting, you know, it has a casting, and then it goes, okay, this is the role you're going to play. And then the soul decides, okay, it goes to the casting again and say, you know what, I don't want to play this role anymore. I want to play a different role. Now I know what that role is about. It's kind of boring, you know, it's kind of like I can't grow anymore that way. So I want to kind of find out a new role, a new way of relating to myself and to others, because your ninth house, as the house of Jupiter, and we can see Jupiter is one of the 3 planets in the 12th house, which is this culmination, the end of the cycle. Your ninth house is ruled by Taurus. And your second house, which is the house of Taurus, is ruled by Libra. And your seventh house, which is the house of Libra, is ruled by Pisces, which takes us back to the 12th house where Jupiter resides as the archetype of the ninth house. What this means is the soul wants to close the old way of identifying reality as a belief system, because whatever we believe, we create. Our belief system creates our reality. So, you know, whatever we believe, we find a proof for it. It doesn't matter what it is. And in this case, it's based on what matters to you. So this is something, that's why your Venus, both your Mercury and Venus, because Mercury is the ruler of your 10th house, which is the Saturn house, the Capricorn house, the definition of reality. I'm in charge. I create my reality. But your Saturn is in 8th house, which is again connected to this Pluto, because Scorpio. Third house, the house of, you know, Gemini is ruled by Scorpio. And we can see Neptune is there. And your sun and the moon in the 12th house, which is the Neptune house. So what this is telling us, all these, you know, positions of the archetypes, is saying the past way of thinking, how the soul identify reality based on the program that has been, you know, put onto us by the societal structure, is now doesn't have a meaning anymore. It's like it's gone. Like, okay, this way of relating and functioning in this planet Earth is kind of meaningless now, because I had the totality of experience, what that feels like, and now it lost a meaning. I want something different. I want to have a different role. I want to play a different role in a society. And in a sense, I want to transcend the limitation of what somebody else is telling me I should be doing. And for that to happen, we need to redefine who we are, what is our relationship to ourselves, what matters to us, and how we want to show up in a society, like what kind of relationships we want to have, not just romantic, but any kind of relationships, like how we want to be mirrored to with regards to the other person. And that's why your Venus is in a new first house, which is the house of Aries, but at the same time is in a closing phase with Pluto.
Sorry.
Are you okay?
I got a call. Did you hear that?
No.
Yeah,
do you need me to stop?
No, I took it off the hook.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem. So your Venus is in the first house because based on this Virgo function, Venus is Virgo, very practical, again, very, you know, trying to discern like what matters to me, what is important to me, what is my relationship towards myself, what is my relationship towards someone else, how do I want this to look like going forward. And based on the, you know, the 12th house is ruled by Leo, which we know that the past way of how the soul wanted to self-actualize is lost the meaning. It's come to the end because it no longer resonates, because in this lifetime you came here to individuate, therefore find a new way of showing up in a society and fulfilling whatever purpose you decide, you define, you will redefine that is, based on who you are, like uniquely, individually you, like authentic. Because with the Saturn, which is the manifester, you know, Saturn is the archetype of a 10th house, Saturn is in Aries. So the thing that naturally happens between Saturn and Aries, between Saturn and Aries in a, you know, natural zodiac is a square. They square each other because this Aries goes like, hey, I'm born, here I am, I have this instinctual desire to go and do something. And then Saturn goes like, hey, kiddo, you don't know how to do it, you know, like you need some experience, you need some knowledge, you cannot just be born and already be a CEO, right? So your Saturn is in retrograde. So Saturn in retrograde is on an accelerated path of evolution because it will naturally reject external authority. It will go like, hey, you're not the boss of me. You know, like this new generation, these new babies that are born now, and they say, you are not the boss of me. I know what I'm doing, even though they're little. So in a sense, your Saturn, because it's in 8th house, which is the house of Scorpio, and the Scorpio is on the cusp of your 3rd house, and Neptune is there. There was a totality of experience of what it feels like to be dependent on external authority, because it's 8th house, Scorpio house. I depended on someone else to tell me how to live my life. And therefore, this Saturn is retrograde, so it's going to behave in a completely individuated way. And it say, no, in this lifetime, I'm going to figure it out for myself. And the way I'm going to figure it out is through your Virgo archetype, which is like continuous asking questions, discerning, gathering information, learning and adjusting, learning more skills, continuously learning more skills. And based on everything that you learn, you can then see and experience somatically, because Virgo, Earth, that is this still something that holds a meaning, or is this the conditioning of the past that I don't know, no longer resonate with, because it's making me feel disempowered based on somebody else telling me how to live my life practically. And that's why this Saturn in an 8th house of Aries is saying that you came here to find this new direction, because your Mars is in Leo. So this Mars is like, I want to show up and follow my purpose and destiny based on this new identity that you're creating, because your old identity, the bloodline that you came here to upgrade, in a sense, that you came here to add some new flavor to it, which would be based on this: I do have a choice, I can create my reality, I can show up and follow the path that I choose and be in charge of it, and actually I can be happy, because Leo in the essence is about being happy, childlike innocence, like connection with our higher selves and our heart. What makes my heart sing? And your Mars is in 11th house, so it's saying, I came here to individuate, I came here to become a new version of myself, where I can go and explore and, you know, go and seek this knowledge and find what is beyond the horizon, which will then help me to define, because Capricorn, define, that's the definition of reality. What is this new direction you want to follow? Because your Sun, as the ruler of Leo, and Leo himself are in a 12th house, because Leo rules your 12th house cusp. And Sun, even though it's in Virgo, it is still ruled by Leo based on this house system, because your Sun and the Moon is in a 12th house. So it says that you came here to redefine what matters to you. What is your purpose? What do you want to do? What makes you happy? Not based on there is certain level of, because it's in 12th house. So there is still this, and they are all in a closing phase with the South Node. The conjunction hasn't happened yet. Your South Node is in Libra and Sun is in Virgo. So the South Node hasn't got to Virgo yet. So there is a lot of culmination. So there is this still certain part of your life was this experience of the past, because there is this certain nostalgia, there is this certain emotional attachment that this is how it was and it works for everybody before me. And then there is this insecurity, because Saturn, as the authority, is in Aries. So there is this certain level of insecurity that, okay, I know this is not quite working for me anymore. It doesn't make me feel happy and fulfilled, but I don't know what it is that I want, because the Saturn is in Aries is saying like, well, you know, I need to kind of figure it out how to do this thing, because if it's not this, then what is it? And that's why there is all this stuff going on in Virgo, because Virgo archetype is helping you to find that process of individuation. She's helping based on your very, to a certain extent, logical mind, because Mercury in Virgo is very logical, but because your Sun, Moon, and Jupiter are in the 12th house, there is also a level of intuition. So the both have to be in alignment, because just to trust on the data, you know, the information we are gathering is not enough anymore, because your Neptune is dissolving the Scorpio in the 3rd house, which is saying that there is a lot of this that made us feel disempowered in the past. So there will be this natural response that I'm not doing this. You know, this is kind of not quite what I want. And that's why with the Neptune here, because Neptune is trining all this stuff going on in Virgo, you know, like, well, sextiling. But I mean, because everything is in conjunction here, it doesn't even matter that it's not directly by degree 6 sextiling your Sun and the Moon, because it's sextiling everything in Virgo, and they are all on the top of each other. So practically Neptune is sextiling everything in Virgo. And it's saying that there is a lot of stuff that is being dissolved because it's no longer resonating, because that's where we identify that, oh, somebody else is trying to tell me how to live my life. I'm not doing that. I already done that. That's the role I already played in past lives. This is not the role I want to play here. But there is still this insecurity, which is like, oh, but in a sense, it's something familiar. It's something that I know would keep me safe, because if I just listen and do what I'm told, then, you know, it's got certain advantages. But with this Pluto in the 3rd house, I don't think that this is something that could have been done for a very long time, because this Neptune would dissolve it. And I think especially when you had your Pluto square, Neptune square, and Uranus opposition, when you were in your 40s, early 40s, and then mid 40s for Uranus opposition, that was probably the point of your life when you just decided, I'm not doing this anymore. That's it. Because with the Pluto square, Pluto would have been in your 4th house. Yeah, 4th house when it squared your Pluto. And that would be potentially like a case of when you would wake up into the sense of, my life was a lie. Like, my life was a lie. Like, this is not who I really am. Like, this mistaken identity sense that I am something different, and I need to figure out what the hell it is, because this is not resonating anymore. And that's when this Saturn, because Saturn is ruled by Aries, which is the archetype of a 1st house, and is ruled by Mars, because Mars is the ruler in Aries, and Mars is in 11th house, which is the house of liberation. That would kick all this off and would say, okay, I need to figure out a new way, because I want to be free. I want to live my life on my own terms. I don't want somebody else to tell me how to do it. And that, in a sense, I feel was potentially the process which completely changed your life. Like, probably there was like certain life that was before and certain life that shaped up and became the life after, where you started really seeking these answers to the questions of like, who am I and what I came here to do.
Mila, I got married in 2010 and I got divorced in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So after my divorce, I'm happily divorced, by the way. I'm happy I'm not with her anymore. After I got divorced, I started looking into myself, and I started a what I call a Know Thyself journey.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And that's when I got into astrology, numerology, ENFPs for Myers-Briggs, and I started doing a lot of stuff like that to look into myself and find out who I am. At August 2015 is when I got divorced.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that's when I started everything anew, and I moved away. I was separated from my wife for like 3 years before 2015. So around 2012, I got separated from my wife, and then I moved into my mom. My mom was getting sick, and I moved into my mom about 2020. I moved back into my mom at 20. I was with my mom when I was separated, and then I moved away for a couple of years, and then I moved back in with my mom in 2020, and because she was getting sick,
Mm-hmm.
and I was looking after her. I was caregiving her, and I was looking after her, and my mom just passed away June 9th of this past year, about a month or so ago. So I'm no longer caregiving my mom, and my mom left me and my sister a house and a couple of apartment buildings that I was managing since 1990. When my dad passed away in 87, he got electrocuted under a dishwasher when I fixed it at the restaurant. So my mom bought apartment buildings a couple years later, and I've been managing those since 1990. Now we're going to sell the buildings too, so I'm starting like a brand new life now. I don't have my mom to caregive anymore. I'm going to be getting money from the house sale and the property sale. So I'm starting like a whole new process right now. Now that she passed away in June 9th of June of this past year.
Yeah, it's really interesting because this is the chart for 2015. I mean, I put 10 of August, but obviously, you know, it could have been like different day, like, you know.
No, that's when I got divorced. Yeah.
Exactly 10 of August.
15th of August, but same thing. 15th, 10th. Yeah.
Let's see. Because that's when Uranus was going over your Saturn.
Oh, really?
In an 8th house.
No, wait. August. Yeah, August 15. Yeah, around there. Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look. I mean, it maybe just moves the sun and the moon, not by much. Well, sun not so much, but moon. Okay, let's have a look. So yes, Uranus was here with Saturn. So Uranus actually represents divorce.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, 20 degrees. Uranus in evolutionary astrology, well, in evolutionary astrology, Uranus represents trauma. It represents something that happens suddenly, unexpectedly, and we cannot always fully integrate it, which is why it gets kind of hidden in a subconscious. But usually whatever happens to us in an adult life is just a continuation or reflection of something that happened a long time before. So it's just like the Uranus is the trigger, but it triggers the memory from the past, from the subconscious, so they come to the surface for healing and integration. So in this case, it would have been probably like where, you know, whether in this lifetime earlier on or in previous lifetimes, you felt that somebody else, you know, like you had to depend on someone else, that I didn't feel like on my own I'm competent and I have to be with someone else to feel that I can do this or something, like go in this new direction. But then Uranus came and it just shake up your Saturn, and Saturn makes only a positive aspect to your sun and the moon, which was this closing of the past chapter and allowing you to, in a sense, face your fear and step into your own, you know, step into your own authority, because I'm sure there was a huge shift that happened for you also then coming back to your mom, which was, you know, you went like it's the sun and the moon, you know, like sun in moon in some sense represents mother, and it's also the 12th house, which like caused you to go back in the past, you know, go back to your mom's. And 12th house, living in seclusion, you probably weren't socializing very much, you kind of were just like, you know, hiding, doing little hermit stuff, and that would then help you to reevaluate everything, because it's, you know, it's this Virgo, the Virgo archetype again would get triggered and question like, what happened here and how did I get to this point and what matters to me? Because like you said, it wasn't really like traumatic divorce in a sense that, you know, like you said, you happily divorced, but I mean, at the time when it was happening, I'm sure it wasn't easy. It wasn't like, oh yeah, sure, bye-bye, you know.
No, it wasn't easy.
Because we always create emotional attachment, and because it's your 8th house, which is the house of Scorpio. Scorpio is very intimate, very deep. It's like makes itself very vulnerable in order to create connection. And then when that connection doesn't work out, and also because it's Saturn, you know, it might be like, oh, you know, maybe even sooner there was a realization that I'm not sure if this is the right thing for me, but Saturn makes us persevere. Like, okay, let's just try, you know. Saturn, like, you know, like creates restriction. But then Uranus comes, and Uranus is, okay, I'm removing this because this is kind of standing in a way of us feeling empowered and all this, you know. And that would obviously then 27 degrees, it wasn't quite, well, I mean, by degree it was, yeah, it was opposing, yeah, this literally when was your Uranus opposition. It wasn't exact because Uranus wasn't on 27 degrees, but you were having Uranus opposition, which is this breaking free from anything that is outdated, which in your case is, do I feel free? Like, you know, in that relationship, did you feel you can be authentic and you can be truly yourself? And did you feel good about yourself? Because with this Virgo, on a lower vibration, it can be very critical. It can be like, well, I'm not good enough, all these kind of things, which is something that you came here to resolve. That's something that you don't want to experience anymore, because it's the past lives, it's the past conditioning of feeling this way. So that's why, if for whatever reason you didn't feel very good about yourself in that relationship, then Uranus would go, and like Uranus opposition, it will go, okay, we're going to have to remove this because it's holding us back from being in our power, which is, sounds like it's not such a difficult thing to do, but it's definitely not an easy thing to experience, because it's 8th house, and 8th house is very psychological. It definitely kicks a punch and makes us question everything. It creates this dark night of the soul experience, which is like, oh my God, how did I get to this point? And especially, like, I mean, if it results in you going back to your mom's, that again would make us feel even worse. Like, oh my God, how did I get back in this place or something? And you can see that Jupiter, let's see where Jupiter was, because Jupiter rules your 4th house, 0 degrees. So Jupiter was pretty much in the same place where it was the new moon that you were born under. The new moon when you were born happened on a 0 degrees. So yeah, so that's where the Jupiter was, because everything else at this stage was still in Leo. You can see the Venus, the sun, the moon, everything was in Leo. Only Jupiter was in Virgo at the time, and that was in the same place where was the new moon when you were born, which is a 12th house, which is a culmination of certain experience. And also it was in a closing phase to the sun and moon conjunction, because Jupiter, everything centers around sun. So that culminated the story. In a sense, there was a story that was ongoing before that point, and that was the beginning of the end of that story. And then a new story started for you, like in a sense, you completely redefine the direction of your life based on all the previous experiences which you accumulated. And with this Uranus opposition, you had the opportunity to look back and completely reevaluate your life in a sense, which would be like, okay, is this what I want my life to be from now on? Or do I want to create something different? Because it's the 12th house, 1st house dynamic, the closing of one chapter. So then there is a new chapter opening up, which then will lead to something completely different. Because after the Uranus opposition, it's like an opportunity to shed everything that is no longer in resonance with who you are becoming and start anew. And that's pretty much what happened for you. And then South Node was on your Chiron at the time. Let's see if it was exact. 1 degree. So it was culminated, it already passed. Yeah, because this node is moving this way. So that was a new fake conjunction. So in essence, you didn't have a choice. It was like universe interfere and said, ready or not, you're being pushed into this new direction, which caused a lot of insecurity, because especially if like we are identified through like a relationship, or there is certain, like I said, emotional connection, and then suddenly that is removed, there is like this like emptiness. And then this South Node, South Node also like removes something, and it's gone through your 7th house. So it kind of re-triggered probably this wounding that caused this instinctual direction to go in this like start a new cycle, which was probably happening completely unconsciously on a soul level, because it's the South Node, which is connected to the past life dynamic, and your South Node natally is in Libra, which is probably that every relationship that you experience in your life, if you felt that you couldn't be truly yourself, you couldn't be authentic, and you couldn't do what you feel was the right thing for you, or you wouldn't be happy because of this need for making other people happy and be of a service to others, even though sometimes it would cost you being true to yourself or having your needs met, then this South Node would have removed that.
Yeah, over the years, I burned through friendships a lot. I make them and I keep them, and then if anything is happening where someone's lying to me or other, I just cut them. I cut them loose. I don't want to be a part of them anymore, and I just stay. I stay friends with them, but I don't like. Yeah, my friendships over the years, I've had a lot of close friends, and then some of them just don't don't span the time. Yeah, just if I can't be who I am and be authentic, I just leave the friendships a lot, and over the years. So yeah.
And there would be a lot of that happening, because with the South Node in Libra, which is what we are experiencing now collectively, you're going to have your South Node return next summer. Well, your node will return, not just your South Node. Obviously, your North Node will be returning to the same place as well. There would be a lot of letting many people behind, because your Libra is connected to Pisces, and Pisces is connected to your 12th house, which is connected to your Leo, and that's connected to your Capricorn, and that's connected to your Gemini, and that's connected to your Scorpio. You know, they're bouncing off each other. So what is this creating? The story this is creating is that you're probably encountering a lot of people from the past lives that are helping you to push you into this new direction by your natural instinctual response that you don't allow me to be myself. And your, you know, Mars is a rule of your Capricorn, and you are very sensitive to that, because there is the memory, because your Saturn, sorry, not Capricorn, Saturn, your Saturn is the only planet that is retrograde apart from Chiron. So your Saturn is very sensitive. He's like, don't try to impose your bullshit onto me. You know, I've been there before. Like, no, thank you. So your Saturn straight away would get triggered, and, you know, would activate this Mars, and Mars severes. Mars is like Archangel Michael with the knife and goes and cuts, you know, cuts the cords. And your Mars only makes positive aspects. Your Mars is not a bad Mars. Your Mars is in a very good position because it's in Leo. Mars likes being in Leo. And it makes only positive aspects. You see, it only makes the sextile and trine, and it actually makes positive aspects to your nodes. So that's what I'm tapping into here, that you are coming across people that might feel like for the first time in this lifetime, but there probably is a certain memory, like why you obviously are magnetizing towards them from the past life, because there is a soul contract, and also because the Pisces is past lives. And these people are helping you to understand what is that you culminating in this life by probably expressing the polarity, you know, of that, by, you know, maybe being too close-minded or trying to manipulate or power struggle and all these kind of things. And that, like I said, straight away would activate your Saturn. You are not the boss of me. You cannot tell me what to do. You know, with this instinctual response, that would activate your Mars, and Mars would say, nah, not doing this, goodbye. And rather be alone than with somebody who can't take me for who I am. And that's helping you to define who you are, what you want, what matters to you. It's literally like, with this Mars and Leo energy, it's a childlike innocence, because Mars is the Aries archetype, which is this new cycle, new beginning, like being a child and recognizing the world for the first time by identifying experiences on instinctual level. And then that leads to Leo, because there is a natural trine between the two, and your North Node is in Aries. So there is a lot of learning of a new experience because of all the stuff happening in your first and a little bit of a 12th. And that is creating this, you know, you're naturally being guided by your instinctual responses to the situation, and especially the ones that are created by other people, to recognize your true essence. You know, this Leo, who am I truly? What do I really like? Where am I going? And what is it that I don't want anymore, because this is the story of the past. So it's very natural for me to hear you say that there are a lot of people that just don't withhold the test of time. We don't withstand the test of time, because also with the 10th house, you know, 10th house, well, all your cardinal houses are immutable signs.
Oh yeah, changing.
So this is another thing that is indicating how, and it's very, actually, it's not easy, but it comes naturally to you. This closing of a lot of cycle, and you don't hold on to people. You just let them go, because your 7th house is in Pisces. You probably go like, wasn't meant to be, or whatever. You know, it's like, it's not as difficult as people with the fixed signs on the cardinal houses. No, cardinal on the, you know, like the 1st, 7th, 10th, and 4th. If people have fixed signs there, it's much harder for them to let people go. But for you, it's like, you know, it didn't work out. Like, it didn't work out. And with this Mars and this childlike innocence, it's like, well, I'm not going to keep doing something that makes me unhappy, because the Mars is in Leo and Leo is in 12th house. So it's like, no, we are figuring out what is this new direction for us here. And but, you know, there is this Chiron in opposition with your Virgo, everything.
Yeah.
Your Virgo, everything. And this Chiron is just saying that, well, there is a bit of an insecurity, but you know, nobody was born knowing everything. And I mean, you have all this Virgo quality on your side, helping you to discern, helping you to instinctually be led towards the things that you need to learn to help you feel better, to help you figure out the way. So probably, you know, these things just kind of like pop into your head that, oh my God, maybe I should go and learn astrology. Perhaps that would answer some questions. And then, you know, once you find something that resonates, then you will go to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Because with all this mutable energy, there will continuously be desire to learn something new. And also because your fourth house is ruled by Sagittarius. Fourth house is the house of ego identity, is the house of who you are in a physical form, and your moon is in the 12th house. So we know that the version of yourself you were and where you came from is no longer resonating because it lost the sense of meaning. But on the other hand, you have to figure out what is replacing that. And for that, you have the Sagittarius archetype function, which is this desire to find out, which is this desire to go and explore and ask questions. Your Mercury is conjunct in your ascendant. You are very curious. You want to know, you want to learn, you want to figure it out, you want to know.
I'm gonna get some water. Keep on talking.
No, it's okay. I'll wait for you.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
So you're talking about Sagittarius and Chiron?
Yeah, because the Sagittarius archetype being on your fourth house, you will always be an explorer. You will always be curious and you will always ask questions and you will always want to know more and find out what is the truth, because that's how you're learning about yourself. Because your ninth house is ruled by Taurus, and we know that Venus here is in the first house. So you're learning about yourself, about your relationship to yourself, about your needs, about your values, about who you are in this incarnation and what role you want to play, you know, on that stage, the casting you want to go for and choose a new role for yourself. So that's why, in a sense, this is a transitionary life. This is a life where a lot of old cycles are closing and new cycles are beginning. New cycles are being seeded where you choose. You're literally choosing. That's why there is nothing in your 9 and a 10 house, and that's not by accident, and a 4th and a 5th and a 6th, because 9 house is our belief system. So the way, you know, you learn about yourself and about who you no longer are and what no longer resonates, and then by default, you then this spikes your curiosity to find out what is the opposite. Okay, if I don't resonate with this, if this is not my truth, if this no longer holds a value for me, then what does? And that then triggers this Virgo, you know, curiosity, which say, okay, I have to go and find out. I need to go and figure it out for myself. You know, I need to define it for myself because I want to be the creator of my next chapter of my life. And then based on what you're learning, it affects your perception of reality, your belief system, which then creates your new reality. And it's in Gemini, which is saying that there are all these options available. You know, Gemini is these multiple realities, multiple dimensions. And it's saying, well, you can choose whatever you want. You know, your Mercury is in the first house. It's saying, well, whatever you choose, you know, you can have it. So that's what I mean. In this lifetime, this is a transitionary life where you are understanding of what you no longer want because it no longer holds a meaning for you based on your experience and the people you come in across that reflect it back to you. And at the same time, it creates a curiosity and instinctual desire to go and find out, to go and explore and figure it out and learn new things. And based on that, you actually finding out about your individuality. because, you know, you might like this and you might like, you know, like you might have like a completely conflicting hobbies or something, like completely conflicting interests, that I like this, but also I like that, and all these kind of things, and all these different aspects of yourself that you are learning about, what matters to you and all that, are helping you to shape this new picture, which is continuously changing, because continuously you are not learning new things, and you will keep doing so. And then one day when you go back to spirit world, you go, oh my God, look at all this experience, all this data I have, all this stuff I experience, and all these cycles that I close, and these new potentials I experience. And then you can choose whatever you want. You can literally choose whatever you want to experience, whatever you want to do next. So in a sense, this is like this is a canvas, you know, like having these empty houses. This is like it's a blank canvas. You can choose whatever you want, especially because the rule of your 9 and 10 is in the first house. So it's a new beginning. It's a new chapter of your, you know, incarnationary development, because Pluto in the first house always represents a new cycle, like a new desire of the soul for a new cycle of incarnations. There is a new amount, like literally, you imagine that you would have come like 100 times, or okay, not so, let's not go crazy, 10 times you would come back to human body, and you would decide, okay, I want to have the same experience but from a different angle. So for example, I want to be I don't know, a chef. Okay, I want to be a chef, and in one lifetime I want to be a rich chef. In one lifetime I want to be a poor chef. In one lifetime I want to be a woman. In one lifetime I want to be a man. You know, like having this multiple incarnation that kind of would allow you to experience reality through the same thing but from a different angle, like doing the same, having the same desire but different angle. And now the soul is saying, well, I now want something different. I want something completely different, and I'm going to discern based on all this data that you are accumulating and then, you know, organizing. You're going to figure out what it is. And that's why there is all this stuff happening here, you know, with the Taurus connected to your 4th house and this Libra, because these people that are coming into your life are showing you what longer doesn't hold a meaning, or also helping you to find your spiritual path. You know, you might come across some person on social media or something, and you go, oh my God, this is what I want to learn. Human design, this is exactly what I want to know. This is the next step in my evolution, the next connection to my higher self or something, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
And then
In human design, I'm a manifesting generator.
yeah, I'm the same. So in a sense, you know
Okay.
what you want.
Yeah,
Because
and it depends on my gut if I do it or not.
well, there's a free will.
I kind of follow my gut. My gut tells me not to do something. I don't do it.
That's good. So you're
Yeah.
listening to yourself, because with your sun and moon in 12th house, you know, you have the totality of experience of what came before. So you trust it, because it's like having a sun moon in Pisces. So you know, that's why like you just listen to yourself, because you already had that experience. So that past memory of the soul is saying, okay, this is not the direction I'm going at, because I already experienced this and this is not the right thing for me. So that's amazing that you already so connected with your inner guidance that you can actually follow it, because how many people struggle with that they still externalize their guidance to ask other people for counsel. And of course, nobody else knows what's right for you better than yourself. So yeah, and I mean, you're having so many things going on at the moment with the, you know, your North Node is going to conjunct your Saturn soon. So that's going to definitely activate this desire of, again, choosing whatever it is you want to manifest in your life, because Saturn is the manifester. Currently, Saturn is going through the 6th house, your 6th house, which is this Virgo house. So Saturn is helping you to, again, reevaluate, you know, based on past experiences, what no longer resonates, what longer holds a meaning, and what it is that, what other tools you might want to gather, but also what are the aspects of yourself that perhaps you couldn't engage with because it wasn't acceptable, or there was no time for it, or it wasn't the environment, the right environment and stuff. So Saturn in Pisces is literally helping you to understand with the Virgo archetype, you know, like discern that, is this still who I am, or is this aspect of myself which now no longer resonates with who am I becoming? Because your 6th house is ruled by Aquarius, which is this accelerated path, and you know, your Uranus is in a new phase. with Pluto, and is the one that is closest to the south node. So this is the one you resolve in the closest, and actually based on the silver return that's already happening, because this is your natal chart, but obviously time hasn't stopped there. So your Saturn at the moment is showing you the path of individuation, like based on your experience and the people you're interacting with, that this is the past and this is where I'm going. And then that is, with the Neptune coming so close to Chiron, that's dissolving the fear of stepping into the unknown, because you have the competency. You already had you had the Pluto square, Neptune square, Uranus opposition. You had all these experiences already. So I feel in this stage in your life, you are free to choose what you want. Like, even unfortunately with your mom passing, you don't have the same level of obligation and responsibility you had before.
Right.
So now you literally can choose. You can choose whatever the hell you want to do with the rest of your life. Like, it's up to you. And in a sense, it's scary because it takes a lot of responsibility, but it's empowering because it allows you to take the responsibility and therefore the power and charge of your life. And that's, with the North Node now going on over your Saturn, coming into the conjunction, that's exactly the opportunity for that.
When's that going to happen?
Let me see the ephemeris in September.
That's when I'm going to move out. I'm going to move out October 1st.
Good. With your Sagittarius, Uranus, Jupiter is going over Taurus, 9th house. So yeah, this is a good time to do it. And the South Node at the moment is going through your Libra, 2nd house. So why not? In the past, 18 months, you had the chance to experience that this is not the neighborhood I want to live in. And now I'm going to act on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because while the nodes were going
I put an application in yesterday. So I'm going to find out on a couple of days now if they're going to accept me. But I'll probably end up being there.
2518. Well, you decide. You are the creator. If you really want it, you will manifest it.
Yeah, I want that place. Yeah.
Okay, 25 is literally happening a day before the day before the new moon in Virgo. On September 14th, you're going to have North Node conjuncting your Saturn, and the Virgo new moon is going to affect you for sure because you have so many Virgo planets. 21 degrees, 59, oh my God, it's happening literally on your Pluto. So this new moon in Virgo, it's happening in your 1st house, literally in conjunction with your Pluto,
Wow.
and that's opposing your Chiron. So there for sure, 100%, there's going to be something happening in your life that's going to take you in a completely new direction, for sure. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have a new moon in Virgo when you have so many planets in Virgo in the 1st house, literally conjuncting your Pluto exactly. Literally 6 minutes away, 6 minutes.
Yeah.
So that is definitely...
What I'm planning on doing is starting a YouTube station when I move into my new place. And I have like a few videos on it already, but I want to basically start a channel that helps people know themselves. It helps people go on their know thyself journey, because I've been through, as I said, Myers-Briggs, human design, numerology, astrology, and MILA'S, multiple intelligence development assessment scale, the discs, and just a bunch of stuff that I've been through. And over the years, I've recorded hundreds of audio clips of me talking about stuff like that has not been published at all. So I have a lot to do. And now that my mom passed away and I don't have to take care of her anymore, I could just be free to do what I want. And for the past 5.5 years, since February 2018, I was an Uber driver. And I've been an Uber driver for over 5.5 years now. And that allowed me the flexibility to manage my mom's apartment buildings and Uber drive. And those are my 2 jobs that I had. Because they say if you have Gemini midheaven, you usually have like 2 different jobs that you're doing or more. So that's what I've been doing. And I've been like watching Astrology for many years, and other astrologers too. And I know astrology fairly well. but not good enough to give readings. But I've given readings to my friends, and they all enjoy my readings that I've given to them just by pulling up the chart and describing it. But I don't know too much about like conjunctions and stuff like I could just give a basic natal reading, you know. So
Yeah,
I'd
but
like to
you
more on that and learn and maybe take a class or two on doing astrology readings, and I could do numerology readings easily. I could
Mhm.
start by doing numerology readings. So that's kind of like the direction I want to go. Let's start a YouTube station. I'm going to call it Temple John John, and that's where my new direction is going to be going to. And then I want to drive Uber in the meantime because it takes like at least a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, to get a YouTube station going. And I also graduated from broadcasting school, so I was in radio for a few years, and I also learned how to like light on edit. I know how to edit very well from Final Cut, so I know how to edit videos, and I know how to light, and I know how to use the camera. So I want to take all the skills that I've learned in the past and try to hone in on the Temple John John. So that's where I'm looking to do when I move out of here.
Yeah, that's great. And also, you know,
Yeah.
with the sun now going through your 12th house, it's helping you to illuminate this new sense of purpose that you're stepping into. And, you know, and that's going to be much more clear when you have the new moon in Virgo in September,
Virgo,
because the
September.
sun will be in your first house. And also Venus currently is retrograde and is going to conjunct the sun on Sunday, on the 13th. And this is very, very auspicious position.
The
And
13th of August?
yeah, now on Sunday. Yeah, it's going to, sun is going to, Venus and sun are going to conjunct, and it's like, they call it the Venus star point, and it's like a rebirth of Venus. So you're going to get a completely new inspiration with regards to, you know, the meaning based on what matters to you and what is the calling of your purpose and destiny. But I just
Oh,
really feel, because with all these other things that are happening in your chart, you know, that's like your sun just went over your Mars.
oh,
Yes.
it did?
Yeah, 5 days ago.
Oh,
So this definitely activated this desire to go in this new direction where you would break free from the conditioning. But also, I was laughing when you were saying about the Uber driving, because this is giving you the opportunity to learn a lot of information, because people love talking to, you know, taxi drivers, Uber drivers. People always talk, so you learn a
yeah.
lot of. It's like a news, you know. You all learn so many things
Yeah, I
that
don't watch the news anymore. I get it from my riders.
exactly, that's what I mean.
I
You
don't
know.
watch the news ever.
Well, yeah, that's the best way to go anyway, because you're discerning that it's all bunch of nonsense anyway.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
with this Gemini in a 10th house, and you know, Mercury rules vehicles, so it makes complete sense that actually this is one of the tools that you have to gather information from other people and about
Interesting.
which direction to go, because literally Mercury rules driving. You know, it's the vehicles, it's the short distance driving, like cab drivers and Uber drivers. And Mercury is in your first house, conjunct your
Right.
ascendant in Virgo. So it's helping you to assess and reevaluate and gather all this information that are showing you this new direction. But also, I always say that people who work with people on such a close, you know, like hairdressers, Uber drivers and stuff, you
Yeah.
learn so much about human psyche and about different way people operate in this reality. And that again is something that is giving you a lot of tools and a lot of breadcrumbs for your work that you're going to do. And like, yes, with your Gemini in a 10th house, you never were born to just be one thing, which is exactly the whole point. Because with the Scorpio on your 3rd and 8th house being ruled by Aries, you're stepping into this new direction of embracing your multidimensionality. So just because you are, you know, that's what I meant, that I'm sure you have very conflicting hobbies, because in somebody's mind, somebody who is an Uber driver wouldn't be like very spiritual and open to tarot and human design. So probably when you tell that to people, they're surprised. They think like, oh my God, I didn't expect you to say that or something, which is exactly the whole point, because you came here to transcend the limitations of what we were being told we are here to do. We are not just here to be one thing all our life, just to do one thing, but actually we have different aspects of our souls that wants to express itself. And why waste the entire lifetime by focus on just one thing when we can experience all these different things? You know, we live
Right.
in accelerated times, and especially now Pluto moving into Aquarius, you know, and Pluto has been in your 5th house. So it's just exactly marks when you moved in with your mom and took care of her, And now that's shifting. Pluto has moved into Aquarius already for 3 months. Now it's back in Capricorn. And then next year,
It's going to go back to Aquarius.
It will go back to Aquarius in January, but then it will move back into Capricorn in September, and then it will move back into Aquarius in November next year, and that's it. Then for 20 years, it will be going through Aquarius, and this is an accelerated path. So I feel that in these past 15 years, you culminated this who you were and how you were potentially dependent on other people telling, other people's validation or approval or whatever. And now this is a completely new chapter of your life where you are like, I validate myself. I don't need somebody else to tell me. I know who I am. If I figure it out, I had all this time to do it. And all these people that reflected to me who I am no longer. So now you're literally on a precipice of a completely new life. And now with this Virgo new moon on your Pluto, 100%, because like, as you can see your chart, literally the only thing that is going on there that is like challenging is one square, and that's with this Neptune, which is this having to let go of old conditioning, which is like figuring out, okay, this is bullshit, this doesn't work for me anymore, I'm not living my life like this. And your Saturn is helping you with that, because you have this natural resistance to somebody telling you how to live your life, which is good, because you came here to free yourself, because you're not to live somebody else's life. And then is this opposition, this insecurity that, oh, am I ready to show up? Am I ready to show other people who I truly am? But like you said, you have all this stuff ready to be published. It's just a matter of, okay, now is the time. And the time is coming very quickly, literally. And now when you look at your progress chart, your sun is still in the 12th house. But
this
look at
progress.
This is a progress chart, how things move from when you were born. So this
I understand what that is.
This is your natal chart with the progressions. So you can see, like Mars, is now in your first house. Obviously, Pluto is, is going to remain in your first house because these don't move very much. But your Jupiter is in the first house now. So now you're using a completely different lens through seeing reality. It's no longer about, oh, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, I don't know anything, I don't have enough tools. Now is the complete aspect. Now it's like, well, I know enough to start, and I gathered all this information, tools, and skills over the past years, so I can start. I will learn as I go along. I will always keep learning, because that's the nature of who you are in this incarnation. You will always keep learning. You will never get to the point when you say, I know everything and I don't need to know anymore. Like, you will never get to that point, because you are on this path of continuous learning and transmuting the past conditioning. So you're creating a new pathways. And now your Mars is in the first house. Actually, Mars, I think, is conjuncting your Venus. Let me just check that. 16 degrees. Mars is conjuncting your Mercury, which is very good, because it's completely opening up these new ways of communication and creating connection with people and identifying reality in a brand new way. So this is all very positive. And from the point of progress chart, you are liberalizing now, which is that you are dissolving this past way of relating and being seen in a society, and you're creating a new ways, like the ways where you actually want equality. You want to be able to see for who you are. And your North Node is in the 6th house. So that's what I mean. At this stage in your life, you feel, I'm ready to start, because I know enough. And with the Saturn, there is a new phase. These two already had a conjunction, because the nodes move this way and the planet moves in the opposite way. So between Saturn and your North Node, there already was a conjunction. So you're ready to step into your authority and decide how you want to create your life from now on. And your Moon is already in the 11th. So Moon is like, I'm here to liberate myself. That's it. I'm closing this old conditioning of past incarnations that we were being told what we can and can't do. There is just this closing phase with Chiron, which is this, facing your insecurity of this unknown new path, but you are already there anyway. And then I just wanted to show you, because, we already halfway through, I wanted to start talking about the solar return, because the story of your chart is fairly clear, because you have everything concentrating in 2 houses with a few exceptions, and everything is pointing towards this, that you've gone through a period of your life which might have felt like a deja vu, where you might have felt that my hands are tied, karma is in place, I don't have a choice, because there are certain soul contracts to fulfill, certain karma to fulfill. But now things shifted, because now Mars, which is how Pluto acts consciously, is in the first house, is in your first house by your progressions.
Mm.
So this is a new beginning, new chapter of your life. It's no longer about having to go through the past lives conditioning and, you know, tie the loose ends and fulfill certain contracts or karmic engagements, whatever. But now your Mars is in the first house. It's saying, I'm showing up for myself now. That's it. You know, I paid my dues. Now is my time. And that's what I meant, that your life literally is like divided between before and after. And now you are in the after. Now it's like this, like you probably feel like, oh my God, I'm finally waking up into who I am and what I want. And it's feeling lighter, you know, like there is all this optimism. And I want to show you now.
When did Mars get into my first house?
What I mean by transits, Mars has been in Virgo.
Progress wise.
I don't actually know because I'm not quite sure how fast the planet moves. It hasn't been there for long.
Okay, but it basically just got there.
Well, I mean, it's been in Virgo for some time, but it's only been in your first house for 2 degrees. So maybe like literally a year, 2 years max. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't think it's been there for a very long time because it's only on 2 degrees away from your ascendant.
Yeah, that's where the first house starts. Now, somebody told me I have a yod. Are you familiar with yods?
Yeah, the finger of God. It's pointing to your Saturn.
Saturn. Yeah.
Which is this
Saturn to Neptune.
Yeah, the precipice of the finger of God is Saturn, because these are the two in conjunction. So the Neptune in Scorpio and the Pluto in Virgo are in conjunction. So this is what we call blind spot, that there is something you can't see. So your Pluto is in Virgo, so it say, okay, I came here to become competent. So I feel empowered to make choice based on what you discern is the right thing for you, how you want to individuate and show up for your authentic self. So this is what your Pluto came here to do. He's saying, I came here to transmute the past conditioning because I want to start a new cycle of incarnation where I'm going to show up for who I am. And in order to do that, I'm going to gather all these tools in this lifetime. I'm going to fill my toolbox. And then this Neptune in Scorpio is saying, okay, I came here to dissolve the past way of conditioning that made me feel disempowered and told me what I can and can't do. So this is what Neptune is doing, because this is no longer who I am, and this is not my purpose anymore. It doesn't make me happy. So this is what Neptune is doing. So these two guys are having this goal in mind. Now your Saturn is in Aries. So your Saturn is insecure because this Saturn is still remembering the past conditioning of what we can and can't do because of the Scorpio third house, which, you know, is being dissolved, but it's a process. You know, it's a process. So because Neptune is squaring your sun and the moon. So this is something that creates tension. You know, it's kind of like this inner fight that this is what I don't want to do, but I don't feel competent to do something else. I need to gather all these tools and I need to feel ready. So your Saturn is in Aries, and your Saturn in Aries is the point of the finger of God, because these two guys are saying, okay, this is what I want. This is what Neptune wants. And then there is a blind spot. How are we going to get there? Because they know what they want. That's the manifesting generator. But it's like, how the hell am I going to achieve this? And that's why this Saturn is in Aries in the 8th house, because Saturn is saying, well, we need to come to the core of what got us here. Like, how the hell did we end up in this situation? We need to figure it out. We need to investigate that. And then obviously throughout the life, you would have understood, okay, I cannot trust some other people tell me how to live my life because it's never going to make me happy. Then I cannot really depend on other people to make me happy because people have their own agendas and their own stories, and they're living up their all incarnation desires. And that's what they came here to do, because that's what each of us came here to do. And sometimes we cross paths and we align, and sometimes we don't. And this Saturn in Aries is teaching you, especially being retrograde, how am I going to become my own authority? But for that, I need to take responsibility for everything I already created because I chose it. So, okay, how did I get to this point, which is this Virgo archetype, discerning how did I get to this point? How did any of us get to this point of living in this screwed up world where people are on antidepressants and everybody is unhappy? So it's this point of discernment. How did we get to this point? And now how can we get to different point, which is the Saturn in Aries? There is this new direction with regards to I'm taking responsibility and I'm creating a new reality for myself, for which I'm learning all these skills and I'm gathering all these tools and I'm recognizing what resonates, what doesn't, and what is this new sense of excitement I'm feeling. So that's the finger of the God, but there is this blind spot. Do you have any more questions about it?
No.
So it literally just comes back to Saturn in Aries, which is this not feeling fully sure about how am I going to make it happen, which is why you have all this Virgo desire to learn all these new things until you feel I know exactly what I'm talking about, because I've done it so many times. Just like you told me, you learn how to edit, you learn how to, do podcast, how to do this. You have all these videos recorded, you share your experience, you've gone through all this personal experience of what it feels like to feel disempowered and go through difficulties, and then how you got your way out of it, and now you want to share it. And that's exactly what Virgo does, Pluto Virgo, because you want to leave the world a better place than you found it, because you yourself gone through difficulties and you had to find your ways out of them, and now you want to share it with others.
Yep.
Can we move to your solar return, or would you like to still talk about?
Yeah, my north. So people tell me that my north node in Aries is what I should strive to become. So I'm Virgo rising, but I should strive. I've been told that I should strive to be where my north node is, and leave where my south node in Libra was.
No, the South Node in Libra is something that where we came from, but it will always be part of us. So you know where you came from, and the family and the ancestor line, and the past experiences of your soul and the soul of your ancestors, which obviously we inherited because there is a memory of that. So this is something that we are just integrating. We are integrating and transcending. But your South Node is in the first house, which is the house of Aries. But what really your North Node in Aries is representing is this courage to play a new role, to transcend the past limitations and conditioning of what we were being told to believe, that this is your meaning of life, but actually to be open and curious to go and figure it out for yourself. So that's what your North Node in Aries represents. It's to individuate, to find your true North Star based on who you are. And these people that you're interacting with are, as I mentioned, doing two things. They're showing you what you are no longer, what you already experience and no longer resonate with. And there would be a quick identification of that, because your Neptune in Scorpio would help you to understand very quickly. When you come across people and you talk to them, you straight away understand, okay, this is where I used to be at, but I'm not there anymore. So I can have love and compassion for this person, but it cannot be my best friend because we are not resonating with each other. But on the other hand, the other kind of people you meet in are the people that inspire you and giving you this inspiration of like, oh, this is what I like, when it comes to spiritual growth. So your North Node in Aries is practically just telling you to be curious, brave, and courageous to find your own way, and also to play this new role in a society, because the seventh house, relationships.
Okay.
So you came here to play a new role, there was a new casting that happened and you said, okay, now I want to play a different role where I'm feeling empowered and I can show up and be of a help and support to others through being myself, no longer sacrificing who I am. That's pretty much what this North Node in Aries in seventh house wants.
All right. And the last thing will be my Chiron is in Aries again, and I'm going to be 55 on August 24th on my birthday. So I don't know too much about Chiron returns and what happens or what.
You had Chiron return in 2019.
2019 it happened?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But when, I mean, at the same, I think, what is it, 7 degrees?
2 degrees. Your natal Chiron is at 2 degrees. So
2 degrees.
Chiron moved to Aries in 2018, and then it retrograde back into Pisces, and then again in 2019. So this time of your life, 2018, 2019, maybe still after effects of that 2020, was when you would have experienced the Chiron return energy. But obviously then after it happened, it would have eased off. And that was again this desire to move in a new direction.
That's when I became an Uber driver.
yeah, to start something different and to learn to relate to people in a different way and people to see you in a different way. That would allow you to, in a sense, buy time, because Pisces, you know, to discern, to figure out what do you want to do? What is the meaning? What is the point of being here?
Okay.
Because Chiron return just shows us where is the wounding. And in this case, you know, with the seventh house, it's like the wounding comes from maybe I trusted too much other people to tell me how to live my life, because it affects this Leo, or I'm expecting other people to validate me and tell me that I am able to do this, or I should be following my purpose. And they're never gonna do it. People never gonna do it because they always have their own agenda, and they're not in a negative way, but people have their own projection and their own perception of reality, which they're then put onto us and say, okay, this is what I want, so you should want the same. But because of your Pisces seventh house, this is no longer what you're doing. So being actually an Uber driver would buy you a time, because it would give you this opportunity to observe, like literally based on all these different type of people from different walks of life that are getting into your car, listening to them, and then having the opportunity to analyze what you heard. You have the opportunity to actually find out about yourself, because everything is a mirror. So in essence, it would give you the opportunity to have this break in like, okay, I'm not fully sure where I'm going with this, but it's giving me the opportunity to learn something.
Okay. Yeah, I've had over 14,000 rides with Uber.
And I'm sure you met some very interesting characters doing that.
Yeah, I've met a lot of nice people.
Yeah, and that also help you to realize things about yourself which you maybe didn't know before. Like maybe that you are a very good listener, that maybe you're very good with people, you can offer them advice, and you can be compassionate, non-judgmental.
Before I was married, I was a outside salesperson. I worked for a dealership of ADT, the alarm company, and I
Okay.
sold alarm systems to homeowners door to door. I used to knock on 100 doors a day,
Wow.
and it was 100% commission. So if I didn't sell, I didn't get paid. So I got really good at convincing people to let me into their homes.
So you see, you have a lot of good people skills.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is definitely
I did that for 3 years, Mila. 3 years
wow.
straight, knocking on doors for 3 years.
That would be so exhausting for a lot of people, but because you have the manifesting generator energy, you just keep going.
I did it no problem. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because of your also your Gemini is in the 10th house, so you can talk. You know, if it's something
Yeah.
that gives you the sense of this is where we're heading, this is gonna help me to get to my goal, I can do it.
Right, right.
Yeah, so this is where you would have started the path of discovering. I enjoy this, or I don't enjoy this. I like doing this, or I don't like doing this. This is the kind of people I like hanging out with. This is not the kind of people I like hanging out with. So through this job, you learn so much about you and other people.
Right.
So can we
So
move on?
so my solar return is happening in a few days.
And on the 24th, on your
Yeah,
birthday. Yeah,
yeah,
solar return is always on the day of your birthday, or sometimes it's one day before, one day after.
yeah. It's
Um,
about the same. Yeah,
yeah. So
one
this
day
is
or
the
two.
solar return, which is still in action right now because it's not your birthday yet. So this was solar return from August 24th, 2022, and it will cease to be valid on your birthday this year. So this solar return, as you can see, everything is on 29 degrees. All the main houses, actually every single house in your chart is on 29 degrees. So this year, from your last birthday in 2022 until this birthday, there is a lot of closing doors, a lot of closing of cycles. Again,
Interesting.
your sun is in the 12th house, so you probably spend a lot of time, like in a sense, not hiding from the world exactly, but your job in a sense gives you the opportunity to be incognito in a way, but because people can only know about you what you let them to know. Like they don't
Exactly.
really know who you are. So in a sense, it allows you to keep your cards close to your chest. You know, your sun was in the 10th house, 12th house, and because you are natally Virgo rising, always when you have a solar return, when the ascendant is in the same sign as your natal ascendant, this is a very karmic year. Like a lot of big shifts are happening in your life, which in this case,
past year, the from the 22nd.
Yeah, the year that just ended now.
The one that just happening now. Yeah.
So the fact that your mom passed away was a huge shift in your life that created a completely different, ending and a new beginning in a sense. And you can see the Virgo ruler, as Mercury, is on the cusp of your 12th and first house. So you can see this very clearly, how a chapter of your life that came before is culminating, is ending, and there is a completely new beginning where things are completely shifting. Your second house, your south node is in the second house in Scorpio, and at the time Saturn was the one squaring the nodes. Resolution was the south node, so it was pointing towards, again, like who holds the resources. Am I doing something that matters to me? Am I doing something that makes me feel happy and makes me feel empowered, or what's happening here? And the north node was in Taurus, so that gives you the opportunity. It gave you the opportunity to learn about yourself throughout this entire 18 months, from January 2022 until July 2023, so only 1 month ago. There was north node going through the Taurus, which gave us the opportunity to learn about what really matters. What is your relationship to yourself? Like, can I trust myself to create and manifest the reality that I want? And there were these squares because there was this Saturn was in the 5th house. Saturn is actually ruler of your 5th house because your 5th house starts in Capricorn. So there was a certain level of maybe restriction, maybe like still connected to the past, that, okay, I like this, but I want something more, but I'm not quite ready for it. I'm not quite ready to go. And Saturn was in the 5th house. So in a sense, in Aquarius, so it really helped us to realize what is outdated, what no longer resonates with regards to what we are doing, what makes us feel happy, and stuff like that. And at the same time, Saturn is in opposition with Venus. Venus is in the 11th house. So it's again, Venus is liberating herself because it's in the 11th house, is individuating that based on the person you are becoming, because you can see the moon 29 degrees. So in a sense, your mom transiting was a huge loss, but on the other hand, it gave you a like certain level of freedom. So that's the 11th house. The moon is on 29 degrees. So there is like certain chapter ending with regards to, your family, yourself, and the way you identified yourself as a carer for your mom. But that chapter of that book has finished last year. And then you can see the moon is in the 11th house, which is like, okay, if I'm not this anymore, then who am I becoming? And then you can see the moon is just about to move into Leo, which is, again, what makes you feel happy, what makes you feel inspired, what is in resonance with what you care about, your needs, your values. And then again, because the 9th house is ruled by Taurus, even though the Taurus is mostly in the 9th house, would create this desire, okay, let me go and search, let me go and find this new information, new knowledge, new perception of reality, new skills that would allow us to move into this new direction. The 10th house Gemini on the 29 degrees, that something is ending, something new is taking its place and beginning. And Uranus at the time was in the 8th house. It was in a closing phase with the north node. So you can see, again, something very unexpected happened that completely like shifted your life, like it pulled the carpet from under your feet, and things were reconsidered in a way that, again, we reprioritized what matters, where am I going to go from here, and what do I want to do. And it's very interesting how the 7th house is starting with Pisces, which is, again, the spirit house, the ending, the beginning. And your Jupiter and Chiron are both in 7th house. And the Jupiter is, everything is retrograde. Pluto is retrograde, Saturn is retrograde, Neptune is retrograde, Jupiter is retrograde, Chiron is retrograde. All these, outside planets and generational planets, they are all retrograde. So that's an accelerated path of evolution. So your life has completely changed in past year, completely. It started gaining a new momentum. Something completely new is coming, and it's shifted your reality completely. It's your reality like turned on its axis, where something ended and something new is beginning, taking its place, and that will completely change your role that you play in. And you can see there is this ground fixed cross, which is that something that we were connected to, like we were fixated on, that to a certain level created a sense of safety and security and comfort, like kind of became, created a challenge, created a tension that we needed to resolve. We had to break out of it. And because Uranus is one leg of it, it was something unexpected, which then, you know, in a sense, force you into stepping into your authority and making these new decisions for yourself based on what do you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see how it's quite clear here. But at the same time, Venus, as the ruler of your North Node in Taurus, so you're going towards what matters to you, what makes you happy. Venus is making a positive aspect to all these Jupiter and Chiron, which is that the things that you were learning at the time that created this new reality, this new story, they started writing this new story, and this Chiron, it's you know, it's in a seventh house, so there is the wounding, like, okay, now I'm alone to decide what it is that I want. But
Mm-hmm.
Venus is making a positive aspect. So Venus is saying that at the end of the day, as much as this is painful at the moment, it's eventually going to lead maybe to the best chapter of my life, because I can finally be free. I can finally do what I want to do. And now, based on everything that you have done before with the ascendant on 29 degrees, you know what it is. You have all the tools you need. You just have to start.
Uh-huh.
And trust yourself. Start trusting yourself in a sense that you can do it.
And that was 2022.
Mm-hmm. Last year.
Yeah.
So you can see Venus here has just moved into your 12th house. This is the solar return chart, and this is when we put the solar return on the top of your natal chart. So this is your natal chart, you know, the one that we just talked about in the past hour. And this on the outskirt is the solar return chart. So we can see the ascendant moved because your natal ascendant is here on a 14 degrees, and the ascendant from the natal chart, from the solar return, is at the end. It's on 29 degrees. Mercury is transit, you know, it's conjuncting, it is attaching to it on a 28 degrees. And Mercury actually is in a new phase with your Pluto, is in a new phase with your Uranus. So that means that there is a completely new reality opening up for you. Mercury, how you perceive reality, how you identify what you can see, how you're going to create and rewrite your story. It's happening, like, obviously the old story is culminating based on the solar return, but based on your natal chart, the Mercury is in the first house and is in a new phase with all these planets, you know. Natal Mercury, it's just coming into the closing phase with the South Node. So that's how you can see that this year was very, very pivotal year for you, coming towards this birthday, where a lot of things has shifted. And again, there is a lot of energy focused here, 11, 12, first house, breaking free, like your soul, in a sense, your identity is breaking free. Is this some certain aspects of your reality has ended because now you're finding yourself identifying the world in a completely different way, that there is this new direction that has been defined for you in front of your eyes. And with the South Node being in a third house, that's also telling about this ending, that no longer choosing to see world in a way where we don't have a choice, where somebody else is the external authority. And Jupiter was in a closing phase with the North Node, which is again the story is ending. That was in your seventh house. There was a story ending, so the new story can begin. Story where you actually take your power back and you will define what is the direction you want to walk on, what you want to do, how do you want to express yourself. Your Pluto has been in a fifth house for a while, because this is the house of how you transmuting the purpose of your life, how you becoming a butterfly in your incarnation, that you becoming a completely different version of yourself to what you were born, based on all these tools and changes that you implemented into your life, based on what you experience and what you then learn and then put into practice. And the ninth house, you can see the north node, because the south node, your natal north node, this is the natal north node, this is a transiting north node. The natal north node is in a closing phase to Jupiter, because Jupiter is going to go 8 degrees, 9 degrees, 10 degrees, but the node would have gone 9 degrees, 8 degrees, 7 degrees, because they go on a lower digit.
Yeah.
So this is the closing phase, because the story of certain relationship, the story of certain things is ending, and that is connected to the past. So that's why I feel that you and your mom had a very strong contract, very strong past life contract, where, you know, like in a sense, you taking care of her created certain level of restriction, but it also gave you the sense of safety and security, and bought you time, because you had a time to realize, what do I really want to do, what really matters to me. You know, after the divorce, it was like everything that you probably were hoping to happen dissolved, because the relationship was gone and all the dreams connected to it were gone too. So then you went back to the safety and security of where everything began, and then in a sense that gave you a time to figure out what to do from here. Where do I want to go next? What is this next chapter going to look like? So it was like the transition. So then last year, things were culminating again, and then the new story is starting to be written, because the North Node is already in the ninth house, and the Mars as the, you know, how do we take action? It's in the, it's also in a ninth house, but it's in a new phase with both the North Node and Uranus, and it's coming onto your 10th house, which is okay. Now I'm realizing that certain story of my life is ending. So now what do I want it to be? The next chapter. How do I want to write it? And that's what's been happening in the past year, that there has been a lot of shifts, a lot of readjustments, a lot of closing of old cycle and this new cycle opening, but not opening yet, because there are all these closing phases. So there was just like, I can feel new things are coming, but they haven't happened yet. And then this is this year's. This is the one you're going to enter into as of your birthday in 2 weeks' time. You are Sagittarius rising. And Sagittarius is all about discovery. It's a much more optimistic energy, you know, because Virgo natally squares Sagittarius, because Virgo is like, oh, am I ready to go and, you know, like discover the world? Do I know enough? But because your past year was all about 29 degrees, which is saying you definitely know enough. You're definitely ready. You definitely have all the tools that you ever needed to start this new chapter, because everything has culminated. 29 degrees, everything, all your houses, everything is coming to the close. And that's why you feel that there is this massive change coming for you. And it's coming because look, the North Node that is currently going through the sign of Aries is in your 5th house. 5th house is the house of Leo, and in your natal chart, your
The house of what?
Leo. 5th house is the archetype.
Oh yeah, 5th house is Leo. Yeah, originally, yeah.
And
Let me get another water right now.
Okay.
All right, so I'm a Sag rising in my solar return now, or
For this year, yeah.
Is
So
that what I am, or it's influencing me?
yeah, this is the theme. This is the theme for
Oh, the
this
theme.
year. I mean, you will always be Virgo rising natally.
Right.
That will never change. By progression, you are Libra rising now. So that's why you are more in, you want to integrate into society more. You want to kind of like change the role you play, and you want to be seen in a different light. And in this year, there is a Sagittarius, which means that there is certain level of optimism, that there is this new direction beginning, because we know in this past year, a lot of doors has closed. There has been tying up energetically, karmically, a lot of ends, loose ends have been tied up, a lot of chapters have ended. So now with this ascendant in Sagittarius, there is this new direction. And you can see the 9th house, which is the house of Sagittarius, is ruled by Leo. And your ascendant actually is trine in Venus. And Leo is all about your self-actualization, your creative self-actualization, your purpose. How do you want to be seen in the society? How do you want to show up? What is the, what is the story that you want to write that is based on you as a main actor? That actually now, from now on, I want people to see me in this new way, because this is who I have become over the past, years of gathering these tools and experiences. Just like you said, you want to put this YouTube channel out there. You want to start showing people that, look, this is who I really am. I'm not just an Uber driver. I have all these tools up my sleeve that I can offer to people, because this is all the wisdom and all the experience I gathered throughout my life, which now I can offer to others to help, because it helped me. And this is a new direction. You can see the 5th house, as I mentioned, the 5th house, which is the house of Leo, is in Aries. And that's connected to the 1st house, the Sagittarius. So this is the chapter where your soul is starting to go on an adventure. That, okay, I paid my karmic dues, I finished these old contracts, and now I'm starting this new chapter, and I feel excited because it's adventure. It's like, okay, where is it going to take me? What is it going to teach me about myself and my abilities, what I can and can't do, and what I still can learn? And with the North Node in Aries, there is this instinct. There is this instinct involved that, ready or not, I'm coming. I'm doing it because I have no reason not to anymore. And with the Leo being on a 9th house, which is connected to Sagittarius, and Uranus, I mean, obviously Uranus is breaking free, but Jupiter, as the ruler of your 1st house, is in a closing phase with Uranus. So, the story of the past is ending because you're creating a new one, because you're breaking free, because you're going to explore, you're going on adventure. Your soul is going on adventure of how you want to express yourself. How do you want to be seen? What makes you happy? What do you want to do that you couldn't do for many years because you didn't feel ready? You didn't feel you had the tools, but now you do. And that is going to reshape the rest of, the new story, the another chapter that's coming. And Mars, as the ruler of your 5th house, is in a 10th house now. It's in a 10th house, which is the MC, is right on your MC, 4 degrees away, 3.5 degrees away. So it's right on your MC, which means new beginnings. Now you're going to put into practice everything that you've learned. And that's an opportunity to then show up for all the, because Gemini on Gemini on a midheaven, it's like, I have a lot of information, but it's a lot of information. It's not necessarily all of it is useful. It's just a lot of information. But now with Virgo on the MC, it's like, okay, but now I have an experience. I have wisdom. I can discern what out of everything that I learn is actually relevant, and I can offer to others. So it's like not sharing every single experience of my life, but I'm going to share the ones that I know it's going to help. So having a Virgo on a 10th house is a different energy. With the Mars there, this is the new direction. This is the new direction of expansion and creating the new story, rewriting the story of your life, where you are the main actor. And that's helping you to heal, in a sense, this sense of maybe inadequacy, that maybe, we were either born into the environment that reflected to us that we didn't know enough and were not good enough, or is the memory of the past, the memory of the past conditioning when we felt that we couldn't do what we want to do because we didn't have the tools. But now you do. And your North Node is in the 5th house. So it means it's happening. It's happening. Pluto is squaring your nodes. And this is happening the entire year for everyone. But for you, it's in a 2nd house. So you're redefining who you really are and how much you have to offer, like that you are the asset and you have all these gifts and skills that you can offer to create your abundance. And it's squaring the South Node as a resolution in Libra, which is breaking free from the past conditioning. Whoever said that what you could or couldn't do? And with the
Right.
seventh house in Gemini, it's again, it's attracting different kind of people that are showing you that there are all these multiple options of how the story can go.
One thing I didn't tell you is I wrote a poetry book in February of 2018, and I published it on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a second poetry book ready to go, and it's basically it's pretty much in order, and I have to just type it and get my editor to edit it, and the typing of it is probably going to take like 3 months, 4 months. And I plan on doing that when I move in October, is to get that second book done. And I'm thinking about possibly getting a publisher instead of doing it through Amazon this time around. So I might be looking for a publisher. But I've done videos of my poetry book where it's just me reading the poetry. And I've done about 34 videos so far that I've made. And I'd like to finish my rest of my book, which is like 24 more videos, 24 more poems. And then the whole book will be in video format, as well as the one that you could read as a book. So I just want to let you know about that as well.
Yeah, now it's the time, because your sun is in the ninth house, which is the house of publishing.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so I should do it now then, right?
Well, this year, it's going to happen this year.
This year, yeah. I plan
And
on doing it this year, yeah.
And it's going to help you to integrate these aspects of yourself that were hidden. You know, with the again, the Saturn is in Pisces. You are healing the aspects of yourself that were unexpressed, and now you can set yourself free. That you have all these things to say, all these ways you can express yourself in the way that is unique to you, because you are competent, because you know enough. You can share. Like I said, there might have been this feeling of inferiority for majority of your life with the Virgo. You know, Virgo can be very critical. Like, no, I don't know enough yet. I need to know more. I'm not ready. People gonna judge me. They're gonna laugh. But now, like I said, at this stage, after you had all these challenging aspects already play out, you know, the Pluto square, Neptune square, Uranus square, Chiron, Uranus opposition, Chiron return, you know, like you like, what else do you need to prove to anyone? You don't need to prove nothing. Like you can be exactly who you are and show exactly what you got to offer, and the right people will resonate and feel inspired. That's the thing. Like we will never be perfect, and actually people trying to be perfect is intimidating and fake. So actually people who will see that other people, that they've gone through challenging situation and look at what they've done with it, it's very inspiring. And that's that is your offering, that all these different aspects of your personality, you know, your poetry, your astrological skills, your human design skills, your numerology skills, your speaker skills, just to be able to speak the story and inspire people. There is so much you can offer to help people to heal and to feel inspired to then want to work on themselves and make changes in their lives. And yeah, with your sun in that ninth house, I mean, there is a square from the moon to the sun. Obviously, this is the first quarter square. It will happen right after the new moon in Leo, which is happening on the 16th. So on the 16th, now on the 16th of August, there will be a new moon in Leo. That's going to affect your Mars. So new beginning, new direction, or freeing yourself, freeing your soul, freeing your identity. So that's going to happen now on the 16th of August. And then during your solar return, which is happening, you know, the week later, there will be a square between sun and the moon. So this is the first quarter square 1 week after. And it's just saying that there is this point of adjustments. You know, you are adjusting who you were, the version of yourself that feels disempowered and not ready, and you're breaking free out of it. You're going on adventure. Moon is in Sagittarius. You're going to expand, you're going to explore, and you're going to show the world who you are. You know, even though it is something that, again, it's completely changing the paradigm of our life. But if not now, then when? You know, the Sagittarius is in the 6th house. You are ready. Sagittarius, Jupiter. Jupiter is in Taurus, and Jupiter expands everything it touches. And Jupiter is going to be in Taurus until May next year. And Jupiter is going to conjunct Uranus in April next year. And this is a huge realization of the truth about you, because Taurus is going through your 6th house, which is the house of Virgo. And your story of your life is all about Virgo, about all these difficulties you have to go through and learn, you know, what was possible from that, learn new skill, discern, adjust, and this continuously process of self-growth and working towards self-mastery. And now Jupiter is in Taurus, and Jupiter expands everything it touches. So with your Venus in Leo retrograde is saying, okay, are you sure about what you want? Because I'm going to expand it now. And do you believe you can do it? You know, it's just literally the core message of this is, do you believe in yourself? Because you have everything you need, but you need to believe you can do it. Because you have all the skills, you have all the experience, you have all the practice, you have all these products ready to go. It's just a matter of believing yourself.
Yeah, I also have you ever heard of Toastmasters?
No.
No? Toastmasters is a group that you join, and it helps you with public speaking. And what it does is, when you go there, they teach you how to talk in front of other people. And I was part of Toastmasters for at least 2 years. So I learned how to like be a presenter and how to talk in front of people and stuff like that as well. I've done that too.
You see, you've got so many skills. It's amazing. And I really feel that now that you will step out of the shadow, you know, with all the sun hiding in a 12th house, but now your sun is in a 9th house, where sun loves to be, because the house of gods, and you know, it's still influenced by sun, even though it's in Virgo, but it's influenced by sun. This is a very auspicious time, and it's yeah, it's challenging, because it's something that you might feel you're not ready for, but astrologically wise, everything is pushing you in that direction. You know, with all these activations that you had, with all these transits happening in the past year, it literally is, I feel, is not even a matter of choice anymore. It's just happening. And even when you look at your natal chart, and this, you know, your Pluto is in Virgo, and actually this first eclipse in Libra is going to happen in your 2nd house in Libra on the 21 degrees. It's still going to kind of conjunct your south node by the sign, even though the eclipse is going to be on 21 degrees. It's going to create a new change, a big change. So there are all these activations in your chart, you know, with the new moon in Leo now coming up on the 16th, just before your birthday. Is going to hit your Mars. Your Mars makes only positive aspects. It's saying, okay, there is this new beginning. Now we are competent. We know enough. We have so much to offer to help other people as well. Let's do it. And yeah, and there is a level of insecurity, of course. There are all these squares that has to be overcome, because it's this fear, you know, like, oh, can I really shine? Can I really shine my light? Am I ready? This moon, like, well, this is the version of myself I used to be. And there is still like an attachment to that identity, that, oh, let's keep it safe. Yeah. But no, your sun is in 9th house. Your sun wants to shine. Like, it's saying, no, now is the time. Now I want to show up. And Pluto is in the 2nd house, is culminating these past 15 years of what you had the opportunity to learn about yourself and what everything you're capable of. And that's why this Jupiter is in Taurus, expanding your Taurus in the 6th house. It's saying you have so much to offer. I'm like, you know, it's mind blowing. I don't think I ever met more competent person in my life. It's just a matter whether you feel ready, you know.
Yeah,
But
I do.
yeah, because with the Neptune is dissolving your is in Pisces and is in the 4th house, is dissolving the past identity of the soul, because now they became irrelevant. And Moon is in the 12th house, so you are becoming a new version of yourself. It's happening. It's happening. And this Uranus being in a 6th house, it might create situation where, you know, you will be just thrown in the water and then you will have to swim, but you're ready to swim because you know all these things.
Right.
So yeah, so based on your natal chart, you can see here, this is the natal chart with, you know, these aspects coming on with your solar return. The solar return chart is on the top of it. So you can see this Jupiter and Uranus conjunction. It's happening in your 9th house. So you are ending the story about you, who you believed you were and what you could and couldn't do, because that's culminating. You're breaking free out of that. You're becoming a new version of yourself. a new you. And with the moon being in a 12th house, well, the sun is obviously sun return, but the moon is in your 3rd house. So the moon by solar return is in the 12th house, but based on your natal chart is in the 3rd house. And the 3rd house,
This is the progressive chart, right? This one?
this is the solar return with your natal chart. This inside, this is your natal chart, this inside, you know, this surface.
Yeah, that's my natal chart. Yeah. And the outside?
That is the solar return. This chart here, so you can see it also here. So this is your natal chart, and this on the outside is the solar return. So it's like the transit in the sky. So this is the transit in the sky right now, today. And on the day of your birthday, it will be this. This will be the transits on the sky at the day of your birthday. And when we put it together with the houses, it looks like this. But it's the same thing at this. It just this shows us where, you know, where is the MC, which houses they are.
The if you go to my natal chart, the time of my birth is 7:28 a.m. in New Brunswick, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Is that what it says?
Yeah.
Huh? 7:28 a.m. Okay. All right. Because when I'm looking at the natal and when I'm looking at the solar return, the time is given differently.
Yeah. Because the sun, because the solar return is always depends when the sun is going to get to the same position.
The 1 degree.
Yes. So it's all about the position where your natal sun was.
That's why. Okay.
You know,
the
1 degree, the 1 degree, 21 minutes is going to happen at a different time on the time of your birthday. It will happen in the afternoon. It won't happen at the same time you were born.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that threw me off. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No. That's a very valid question. It's just, you know, the sun doesn't care where we were born many years ago. It goes.
Yeah, I understand. It depends on the degree. You're right. I forget that.
That's why in some years it can be even on a different day. It can be the day before or the day after. Yeah.
So I was just noticing that. So if we go back to my solar return chart, the last one you were just showing me,
this one, the one with the Sagittarius ascendant, or the one that you
have.
Yeah,
the one with the Sagittarius. This one here, yeah.
So this is your natal chart, the one
natal chart inside. Yeah.
And this is the solar return chart.
This is the planets are where they are on my solar return.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
so based on that, we can see where everything is if we put it on the top of your natal chart. How is it? Because this is the story of this year's themes. So we know in this year, the soul wants to go in a new direction. It's letting go of the old identities. It wants to go and explore, go on, discovery, path of discovery. Okay, what can I do? You know, this diversity of different things you're going to be doing in your life because you enjoy all of them. Let's see which one makes me the most happy. And you want to shine. You're probably going to publish your second book. People going to start seeing you. You're going to start your YouTube channel. It's going to create certain level of insecurity, but you're going to do it anyway because you have all the ducks in a row now ready to go. And it's going to help you to see yourself in a different way because you're going to get feedback and appreciate yourself in a new way because you're going to see all the creations that you had the opportunity to put the time and effort into over the past many years. They're going to be put out there in the world for everybody to see. So this is like a completion of that chapter that you now presenting yourself in a new light, and it's opening a new opportunities for you. And based on your natal chart, it's going to affect you like this. Venus is in a new phase with Mars. So now, Venus is in a new phase. Venus is conjuncting your natal Mars because we know then during this new moon in Leo that is happening literally like one week from now, that is going to conjunct your Mars. This new moon in Leo is conjuncting your Mars. So we know that there is a new beginning when it comes to the way you're going to show the world who you are. And now Venus, which is our relationship to ourselves, our needs, values, our sense of self-worth, self-reliance, self-sufficiency. Now Venus is in the new phase with this Mars. It's saying, okay, now I know what I want. I know where I'm heading. You know, I don't have all the step-by-step process, but you're ready to show up because this matters to you. It's important to you. And if not now, then when? And you work so hard to get to this point. So this Venus is starting this new cycle between herself and Mars. She's at the same time going in a 12th house. which is dissolving this old, in a sense, old sense of purpose and meaning, because maybe some of what you know, I'm not saying all of it, obviously you said you want to keep your Uber job for now, but eventually you might not have a time for it, because
Right, I understand.
if you start doing everything that you want to be doing, which you really enjoy, it's going to take a lot of time. So you won't, and I mean, financially, you probably won't have to do it anymore. So there is a lot of new things starting, and this Venus is saying, okay, well, things that maybe I did in the past, that maybe mattered to me in the past, or maybe people saw me in a certain way, that's ending, because now you're gonna become a completely new version of yourself, and people will see you as someone different. They will not say, hey, John, this Yubada, but they will say, oh my God, this is the podcast guy, and this is the author, and this is whatever label you want to choose. So certain identity will end because there is a new identity shaping up for you. The identity which you kept hidden until this point. People didn't know all these things about you because you were building up your sense of competency, that I can do it. And now with the Mercury you see is in a new phase with Venus. So you identify your needs and values in a new way. You identify your skills in a new way. Mars is in a new phase with Pluto and in Uranus. So you're going for it. You're going for it. You're breaking free. You feel you can do it. You want to show up and be authentic and, you know, show the world who you really are. And Mars is in a closing phase with the South Node. So you're closing the cycles of other people telling you how to live your life. You can do what you want. You know, there's nobody to tell you what you can and can't do, because that's dissolving. That's it. Right. You know, the Venus as the ruler of the South Node is coming into the 12th house because she just conjunct in a Mars. There is this completely new chapter of your life starting. And it's happening. It's happening. Ready or not, it's happening. You can see South Node is going through the second house. So based on how you're changing and how your relationship towards you is changing, the people in your life will change. The attitude of them towards you will change. Some people might not like it. Some people will. You know, some people will support you. Some people will not like it. You know, it's up to them. It's not your story. Your story is the one that you're creating for yourself, not what the other people are expecting. And Moon is in a new phase with Neptune, which means that you're dissolving this fear of what if it not work out, because this is what I was being told and stuff. So literally everything is starting. Everything is in a new cycle here. You can see the Moon is in a new cycle with Neptune because the past identity dissolved. The way you identified yourself and you've seen yourself in the past, that's dissolving. Now you're seeing yourself in a new light. Your Moon is in Sagittarius. So you see yourself much more optimistic that actually I can do a lot of things. You know, I have all this knowledge, all this wisdom to share.
Yeah.
And we know with the Pluto in the Capricorn, it's transmuting, it's completely transforming the way you are being seen and the path you are following. The Saturn is making you to work hard on dissolving the past, letting it go, and accepting the aspects of yourself which were not being able to express themselves, like what you're doing now. Your book has been there for years, and now is the time to shine it, to see, to offer it to the world to see. And yeah, with this Neptune, Neptune is in the closing, it's in, Chiron is in the new phase with Neptune. So again, that's dissolving certain aspects of past patterns of behaving, past pattern of relating, that, you know, you don't have to hide anymore. You can just be seen for who you are. And the North Node is in a new phase with Saturn. You're stepping into your authority. This is what you were born to do. You have Saturn in Aries. You were born to become the authority of your life, to be in charge of your life, to decide what you want to do. And now you have all the tools you need to do it. And this North Node is now in a new phase with Saturn, which is saying you're doing it. You're absolutely doing it.
Very nice.
And this Jupiter and Uranus, they support in your Virgo house. So everything that you're learning about yourself and breaking out of the conditioning about what you were being told you are and what you can and can't do by someone else, whether in this lifetime or multiple lifetimes. This is not just this story. This is multiple stories culminating, because as we know, natally, you have Sun and Moon in your 12th house and Pluto in the 1st. So literally the time is now. This year, because last year a lot of doors shut, this year is the year where you're starting to really follow your own destiny, like the one you creating, not the one that you had to karmically fulfill. This is a completely new chapter for you. And this Uranus is helping you to break free out of that mold of conditioning from the distant past lifetime, which make us feel that we couldn't do something, that we weren't able to, we didn't have the tools. And this Jupiter is supporting, you know, your natal Jupiter. It's trining it. It's not trining your natal Jupiter because now your Jupiter is in the first house because it's 15 degrees. It's trining your natal Mercury, your natal Venus, your natal Pluto, your natal Uranus. Your Uranus, transit in Uranus is making trine to your natal Uranus. So this is literally a chapter, first chapter of a completely new life.
Amazing. Yeah, I've got a lot of work to do to get ready for the move now.
Mm-hmm. But with
Yeah.
regards to your competency and your tools that you have to offer and how to do what you want to do, you are ready. You know,
Yeah.
like, yes, you're going to relocate, you're going to move somewhere else, different neighborhood, different people, which is good. Because
Well, the neighborhood is really not that different. I'm moving like half a mile from where I'm living now.
Mm-hmm.
So
But still,
the neighborhood
it's a new
going to be,
environment.
it's going to be a new environment, that's for sure. Yeah, that's for sure. But it's about half a mile about from where I'm living now. I wanted to stay close to home. I didn't want to move too far. For the time being, at least for this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not too sure next year if I'm gonna move again. I really have no idea. But for the time being, yeah.
Your moon is still in a third house, you know, so it's neighborhood. You're just moving into the different neighborhood, which makes sense.
Different neighborhood, yeah.
But
Yeah.
even that will create new opportunities because your moon is in Sagittarius. You come across maybe different people, you know.
Oh,
and,
yeah, it's a big complex.
Yeah. So it will definitely create new openings, and you will be hanging out with different characters and learning different things. And I think it's very exciting.
Yeah, I'm planning on my YouTube station, Temple John. I'm planning on doing a lot of interviews with people that I've come across over the years, either through Zoom or having them come over, or I go over to their place and just set up the cameras and interview them. I've got a lot of people that are in different walks of life that I'd like to interview for either short, maybe like half hour to an hour long video, just so people can get to know them.
Yeah, this will be
But
great because it will give people opportunity to relate, because people want to hear this is the new movies that are coming out. People want to see documentaries. They want to see true stories. They don't care about this fiction anymore. You know, they don't care about it because people don't want to live in a fiction. People want to create a real life. They don't want to escape into these stupid realities created by someone else, conditioned us that this is how it should be, this happy ever after, which is impossible to achieve. So actually, people are really hungry for true stories, for real inspirational, relatable stories. And you bring in your own and all the offerings that came from that. And also the people that you're going to be interviewing are going to offer their stories. And this is all real life stories that people can relate to and feel inspired.
yeah, so I'm going to do that and lots of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to moving out. This past year, I've had a lot of problems with my back, my lower back, and my glute, and I've been going to physical therapy, and it's getting stronger now, but it's been handicapping me. But basically, it's been because I don't exercise. The past like 15 years, I never really exercised at all. I exercised for a couple of years to lose some weight, and then my core has been very weak. So I'm trying to like strengthen my core with the physical therapy now. And I got an acupuncture appointment 2 o'clock today in a couple hours, so I got to go do that. And then I'm going to start Uber driving after that. But I've been, yeah.
It's also because your current job is very sedentary, which is not supporting your back.
Right.
So
right.
I feel with this new chapter that you enter in, you're gonna have more opportunities also by meeting with people and stuff. You're gonna have more opportunities to maybe eventually decrease your hours and perhaps eventually completely to stop doing what you're doing, because your life will be much more proactive. And I think Also because your Mars is in Leo, and Leo rules the lower back. That's literally the area of your body Leo rules. It rules the lower back and it rules your heart. And also Saturn is going through your 6th house, and Saturn rules our bones, you know, the spine, but the lower back is Leo. So I feel that this is just an inspiration for you to, again, step into what you really want to do. Like, yes, you enjoy your Uber driving job, but is that what you really want to do? Like, you have all these skills and all this aspiration to do things that really are of a creative nature. Also with the sun in the 12th house. 12th house is the house of movies, you know, like creating movies, pictures, you know, like film industry is 12th house. And I feel that the more that you start doing what you really want to do, what you really feel passionate about and makes you feel really inspired, then, you know, perhaps your health will completely improve on its own, because it's all the same archetype. You know, with the Mars in a Leo, it's saying, yes, there could be inflammation when it comes to lower back or, you know, whatever. But Mars in Leo also gives you a stamina to do what you want to do, so self-actualize, to do these things of a creative nature that makes you feel really inspired and are a reflection of your essence, of who you are. Nobody can create these things the way you do, because they are a reflection of who you truly are. And that's why I feel that when you use this Mars in Leo energy in that way, then your health will also improve. But I'm not a medical astrologer, but it's the same archetype.
Okay.
So yeah, just observe, and perhaps you will notice that the less you will do things that you don't maybe want to do anymore, that lost kind of their resonance and meaning, and the more you will dive into doing these interviews and meeting people and creating movies or documentaries, podcasts, you know, all these kind of things. Maybe you will not even notice, and suddenly you will go, oh my God, my back doesn't hurt anymore. Like, who knows, you know, but it's a possibility.
Yeah, thank you.
It's all right. We are up with time. Do you have any more
Yeah.
question, or you receive the answers
No,
you were seeking?
that's all I'm really happy with what you had to share with me today. And it's just acknowledging what I feel and what I've known in my heart to be, and I'm looking forward to this birthday that's coming up. And yeah, I'm actually going to be going to Spain in Thanksgiving.
Cool.
Because my niece is going to go to school there for she's going to study abroad, so I want to go with my sister to Spain, and I'm going to Las Vegas in October for a weekend.
That is completely in alignment with the Sagittarius rising. You're gonna
Yeah,
start traveling more. You're gonna start
yeah,
exploring more, and it's going to open a completely new horizons for you. And this is a
right,
story that's going to be unveiling over the next year. You know, it's not something that's just going to happen the same day, but this is the Sagittarius story, is the story until your birthday in 2024. And
right.
yeah, and then if you want the, you know, if you want me to look at that, what's going to continue and stuff, then you can just email me. We can get together again, or you can
Yeah,
just let
that
me know how it all
sounds
shaped up
good.
for you.
We could do a solar return again next year. Yeah.
Yeah, because you already had
Okay.
your natal chart.
Yeah, I got the nail down now. Thank you.
You're welcome. So yeah, I think there are really exciting new chapters ahead for of you.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm going to close the share then, and
Okay.
I will send you the recording within next hour, and you will receive a email through WeTransfer, which is the, you know, file transfer that I use to transfer you know, like videos without uploading them on a cloud. And you will have 7 days to upload it, download it into your, you know, device. And also I will send you the link separately in your email, just in case that, you know, the email gets lost in spam. So I also send you a link on your email address, and you just click on the link. You don't have to subscribe to anything, nothing. You just click on the link and you download it, and then you have it in your possession.
Oh, thanks, Mila.
My pleasure. And yeah, if you have any questions, just email me.
All right. Thank you for everything.
You're very welcome. Have a good one. Bye.